Good morning. Today we're going to talk about perhaps one of my favorite Mausers that I own. It's not really a Mauser, it's a copy of a Mauser that the Chinese did. We talked before about how the Germans weren't producing guns to send out to people, so people started copying them on their own. This is the Gongxain Type 1 rifle, 29-inch barrel, and it was a copy of the Germans' 1907 Mauser. They started making them at the Gongxain Arsenal in 1928. This is in 1932. Yeah. Initially, they were made in 6.8 millimeter rounds, which was the Chinese round, and then they shortly thereafter, by the time this came around, which was just a few years later, they were doing the 7.9 by 50 57 Mauser round, the 8 millimeter Mauser round. It's got a butt plate, steel butt plate. It's got swivels, two swivels, one here and one there in the middle. It's got a straight arm on the bolt. It's got the Mauser safety. It's got the over here. You pull that back to get the bolt out. The other thing is that's where the ejector is also located inside there. The bolt itself has that third lug, the safety lug that we talked about earlier. I've been working with the civilian gun, the 30-30, and I'm always impressed by the size of like the ejector on the 30-30. It's just not the ejector, the extractor. And then you look at the military extractors, and they're so huge compared to the civilian guns. They're so delicate. Whereas I guess these have to be a lot more durable. They couldn't have those dainty little extractors. Okay. Enough extract. It has a leaf sight. You raise it up, and then you look through down there. It goes up to 2,000 yards. It's got the wood only goes halfway down, which is you'll find with most Mausers. That's the way it is. The reason for the handguards, I think we talked about that. Anybody that's shot 10 rounds through a rifle realizes how hot the barrel gets, and that if you didn't have the handguard, that you would burn your hands. When I was out in Arizona with my son, we were shooting the 03A3, and we shot quite a few rounds through that thing, and even through the wood, it was hot. So I'd start thinking about like World War II, these guys firing hundreds of rounds, how hot those barrels must have got on their hands. But that's a sidelight. Let's see, it's got the Mauser bayonet lug, goes over and it slides down, and it's got the cleaning rod. One of the most interesting parts, and I always say that about these guns, but one of the most interesting parts of this is that the Chinese put stamps on their rifles and their designations. From what I understand, this one is for People's Militia. It was part of the People's Militia. Below it, this weaker one was the one for the nationalist one, for their region that they were patrolling, whatever province that they were a part of. I'm not Chinese, so I don't know. And then this heavy one that was put on top was the communist Chinese one, and they put that on there when they claimed the ownership over the rifle. Inside, and I'm not going to take it off, but inside the handguard is a note from some guy that must have owned the gun or had the gun at the time. It had his name, it had his service number, where he was stationed, his family members. It had all that stuff written in Chinese inside of it in pencil. And I think I look at it as he was, hey, here I am, just in case people will know who I was or whatever. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, in the early 70s, Mao Zedong decided that there was too many languages in China because it's so big. So he wanted a unified language and unified writing. So what I have, and I don't know if you can see it. Where the hell is it here? Yeah, there it is. You can see it. Some guy carved his name into the gun. His name is Feng, Feng, and that was written in uh, this new script. So you have to figure it was at least in the mid 70s or early to mid 70s that he wrote this. So here we have the gun, the history of it, made in 1932. In 1950, some guy wrote a note, and then in the 70s, some guy scribbled his name on it. So that to me, that's that you can kind of track the gun and find out, what went on. We have You can see right there on the Mausers, they do that. They put all their information up there on the ring. This is in Chinese. Let's see. The double. What I'm going to do is I have a printout, and I'm going to scan it in and put it part of it. It's going to be written on and stuff from my writing with the translation of some of the stuff that I was able to translate. But that was the mark of the arsenal. Down here is the actual place that it was made. That's what I was told. So wherever the actual location it was made, and this was the date, and the date is July, and it says 21, 21, July year 21, and the reason that it was 21 was because they started the new calendar or whatever after their revolution, or so that was in 1911. So if you add 21 onto that, that makes this 1932. Our time is when the gun actually was was made. So it's an interesting Mauser. It fires well. It has some problems. I've been trying to figure out exactly what it fires. It's supposed to fire the 8 millimeter Mauser. The 8 millimeter Mauser fits in there pretty tight, and I mean it fires, it shoots, but it just seems maybe I need to spend some more time on the chamber. I scrubbed it out pretty good before with everything that I can think of, and but like I said, it fires good, and with the 29-inch barrel, it reaches out there and touches things. So this is the Gongxain Type 1 Chinese rifle. And, thank you. Oh, tomorrow we're gonna look at its little brother. We'll do the Chiang Kai-shek Mauser or Chinese rifle, and what we'll do is we'll get a look at we'll be able to compare the two. So, all right, thank you.